The skiing weatherman, Herb Stevens, meteorologist Herb Stevens for SnoCountry.com, and we're going to take a look at the weather that I expect to unfold for eastern skiers and riders over the course of the next 2 to 3 weeks. This feature, as always, is brought to you by the folks at UVEX Sports, and my one headline really deals with what has happened in the last 28 days. February, from the standpoint of people who love snow and cold, this is going to be a tough act to follow. A number of communities in the Midwest and the East had their coldest February ever. I don't think anybody would mind if that backs off a little bit. But a lot of places had record snowfall as well, including Providence, Rhode Island, and of course the one that's made the national headlines is Boston, where the snowbanks in Boston, after driving in the suburbs yesterday to see a family member, I was astonished. Every side road in the metro Boston right now is a bobsled run. But anyway, let's move on to the weather. And as we take a look at the National Weather Service current map on Monday afternoon, the 2nd of March, there are some winter storm advisories out for western New York and central Pennsylvania in the anticipation of a rather messy system that's going to impact all of the East between now and sometime Wednesday. That's step one in what is going to be a very active week. Step two, I think, is going to be more beneficial for skiers and riders, particularly down here in the mid-Atlantic states. There are flood watches up in parts of West Virginia because one storm is going to bring them some rain, but there are going to be two storms, and the second one I think is going to be much more favorable for folks who love the snow. Today's jet stream map doesn't look particularly imposing in terms of finding a storm because we have a broad ridge covering the middle of the country. The northwesterly flow around this trough continues in the northeast following the departure of the storm that brought the moderate snow to southern New England and parts of the mid-Atlantic into central and western Pennsylvania yesterday. But because of this ridge, we are going to have some warmer air aloft getting into the next system, which is going to come out of this trough in the west. This thing's been pounding the southern Rockies with snow over the course of the last 4 or 5 days. Places like Telluride and Bryan Head and Purgatory and Taos, where there's been 4 feet of snow in the last 5 days. Those are great destinations in the short term because of the new snow. This system's going to start to come out, but before it does move out bodily, it's going to send shortwave energy into what is known as a confluent flow over the north-central part of the United States into the northeast. We've got some jet energy coming out of the northern stream. That'll provide the cold air, and those are the ingredients for a bit of a mess. The current surface map shows high pressure sitting over central Illinois, with a northwesterly flow down across the northeast. The winds are pretty brisk this afternoon, driving the front offshore, and where that front ends up is going to play a big role in what's going to happen with the next system. We're going to go ahead to Tuesday afternoon with the high starting to move offshore. At the surface, low-level winds will be swinging into the south-southwest. We'll have an area of low pressure moving through the southern Great Lakes states with snow to the north. And remember, the snow is deep over the northeast, and this cold air is going to be hard to move. So as the first low-pressure system moves up toward the St. Lawrence Valley, the warmer air aloft is going to try and dislodge the cold air at the surface, but the cold air at the surface is dense and hard to move. The 5,000-foot temperatures, which are a good indication for the line between snow and other forms of precipitation. On Tuesday afternoon, it'll cut across the Laurel Mountains of southwest Pennsylvania and out to sea in the vicinity of Chesapeake Bay. It'll be south of the lake, so there'll be snow falling in the northern Great Lakes, and the snow will be moving into the northeast on Tuesday afternoon. Let's go ahead to Wednesday morning. The first area of low pressure will be moving up the St. Lawrence Valley. Another area is going to try and get started off the New Jersey coast, and what that's going to do is make it even a little more difficult for the warmer air to move in aloft and at the surface over the northeast. And notice this ribbon of precipitation back to the west. This is along the cold front associated with the first low, and this one's going to be trouble as we get on to Wednesday and Thursday. But initially, the first burst of snow, upstate New York, northern New England, you're talking several inches of snow, then some sleet, and north of roughly Interstate 90, the New York Thruway and the Mass Pike, I don't think we're going to get into plain rain. There will be some freezing rain in southern New Hampshire, extreme southern Vermont. North of that, it's just snow and sleet. Then the precipitation comes to an end, and that low-pressure system, as it moves into the Maritimes, again, will cause the Arctic boundary to sag to the south. And then we set our sights on this next one. Wednesday morning, you can see that 5,000-foot 32-degree line cutting right about like that. The next system starts to come up, and notice it's in the warmer air, so it'll start as rain, but the cold air continues to press. Wednesday night, you'll see snow in the Ohio Valley. What was rain during the day in West Virginia is going to change to snow Wednesday night and move up into Pennsylvania as the boundary continues to move slowly to the south and the southeast. And the 5,000-foot temperatures show you that 32-degree line is progressing southeastward. So a rainy Wednesday in Pennsylvania and West Virginia is going to turn into a snowy Thursday. The same thing can be said up in metro New York, southern New England. Mixed precipitation and some rain on Wednesday will become frozen Wednesday night. And it looks as though on Thursday morning there'll be some pretty good snow going from southern New England through metro New York into the Poconos and down through the mountains of West Virginia. Northern New England looks as though you're going to be too far north for substantial snow from this second system, but we'll keep an eye on it because the snow could come a little further north and bring you some fresh powder as well. Thursday morning, notice the cold air is poised to move in, high pressure over Iowa. The Great Lakes and the Northeast are going to be cold Friday morning, but this high is going to move offshore by Saturday, and that's going to allow the temperatures to moderate nicely. And this weekend looks like a very comfortable weekend on the slopes from the southern Appalachians all the way up into Quebec and Maine and all the way west to the upper peninsula of Michigan. And skiers and riders deserve that after what has been a really brutal month in terms of cold temperatures. 7-day snowfall totals from the GFS model. Notice this stripe down here. The GFS favors that the second system will affect Kentucky and southern West Virginia. I think we're going to see that trend northward over the next day or so to include southern New England, the Poconos, and the south central mountains of Pennsylvania by Liberty, Round Top, and Whitetail. The snow amounts to the north, I think these are a little bit overdone. There will be that burst of several inches of snow coming up Tuesday night into Wednesday across upstate New York and northern New England. The Canadian model likes that idea that the second stripe of snow is going to be further north, and overall, any location in the Northeast, even if you see some sleet and freezing rain, you will net snow from the event that's coming up, or events, I should say, plural events, Tuesday into Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon in eastern New England. 7-day jet stream shows that the upper-level trough will still be parked over the eastern half of the country. I expect temperatures to be colder than normal from the middle of the country to the east coast for the first 10 days or for the next 10 days through roughly the 12th. When we get to the 12th, 10 days from tomorrow, notice the trough still in the northeast, but it's moving out, and this ridge is going to be poking its way into the eastern half of the country, I think, for about a 4 or 5 day stay from roughly the 11th or 12th through a couple of days before St. Patrick's Day, and then 15 days down the road, notice the ridge that moves in, this is now the 16th, will be moving out, and a new trough is going to replace it. I pointed out last week that the SOI, the Southern Oscillation Index, had turned negative, and it had, and that suggests the cold that we're experiencing now and will have for about another week, but the last few days it's gone positive, and that supports the idea that it's going to turn a little warmer than normal about 10 days from now. We have a messy midweek system coming up. The second part's going to bring a lot of snow into the central Appalachians and into parts of the Northeast. It's going to be a nice weekend. Get out on the slopes and enjoy this beautiful snow. A mild spell's coming up, 3 or 4, maybe 5 days in duration. And then the second half of the month after St. Patrick's Day, most of the eastern half of the country is going to turn colder and snowier than normal once again, and that's going to run right into April. I'm Herb Stevens, the Skiing Weatherman. That's it for now for UVEX Sports and SnoCountry.com. Enjoy your sliding. Take care.